Watkins Glen International is the site for the third leg of the Fay Legacy Cup, the Empire State Road Race. Entering this race, we have quite a bit of news, though not as earth-shattering as last week's announcement. Blake Chandler got his first career win, a long time coming in the eyes of many, me included. With this victory, he is now seated at the table of championship contenders alongside Rebecca Pellerin and Lucy Barton, who are still eye-to-eye in this season-long battle. This is also the longest road course event of the year, and that's why you're seeing this event being run in the earlier hours of the morning. It's currently just after 10 a.m. and it's because the PCC Truck and Light Series are in Iowa, and that race will be later in the day. But some drivers that are here will be taking a chartered flight to Iowa right after they conclude this event, which should be around 1 p.m. From then on, they'll take a 2-hour flight to Newton, Iowa to go to the PCC race. Also this afternoon, we also have the sports car race and the Trans Am race, so it's quite a heavy paddock down here in Watkins Glen, New York. But now, let's see how they line up for the Empire State Road Race. Taking the front row are two part-timers who have performed impressively this season, Ronnie Samples and Tony Hart, followed by informal teammates Jamal Schmidt and Luke Pellerin, while championship leader Rebecca Pellerin and Thomas Tucker take on row 3. Starting 7th, Lucy Barton trying to recover the championship lead she lost in Trois-Rivières, while Ashley Richardson's trying herself to gain the Legacy Cup and become a title contender, while Ollie Sandy O'Nolan and runner-up in the championship right now, Blake Chandler, lines up in 10th. A big surprise in the top 20 is Peter Johnson starting 11th, while Joey Torkson, Boyd Abbott, Charlie Faulkner, and Rafaela Molina close the top 15. Connie Brooks, Ruby Carson end up in 16th and 17th, while AJ Murphy, Jennifer Irving, who's running the Trans Am race in a couple of hours, and Tammy Barton closes the top 20. Kelly Ashcroft missed the beat in qualifying and starts 21st, while Corbin Dempsey starts 22nd. Another surprise, the second expansion car, Creeper Stevenson, starting 23rd, while Lee Schmidt and Brett Finley also had weaker qualifying runs, closing out the top 25. Mac Hanley, Robert Burton, Hibiki Murata, and Kirk Jones bring 4X Auto bodies between 26th and 29th, while Riley McKee has a weak qualifying run and starts 30th. Bringing the rear of the pack are Bobby Savage, Mega McDonald, Dan Wright, Lucas Calhoun, and Alexis Wyman within the top 35, while Caitlin Richler had a terrible time trial, actually spun in her second lap and ends up in 36th place. However, the usual suspects do bring the rear, with Kristen Young, Adam Patterson, Kip Lemon, and Rick Lewis closing off this 40-car grid. Only 4 cars failed to qualify for this race, the 3 of Kira Downer, the 12 of David Lamar, the 68 of Andy Atwood, and the 93 of Kevin Daly. This race is scheduled for 102 laps, 250 miles, the longest road course event all year. The pit window is expected to be between 20 to 24 laps, but if a driver wants to try, they can stretch it up to 26, 27 laps. However, this might be very dangerous because weather right now is a bit on the colder end, and that is really problematic for tire wear. The tires might be spent a little bit earlier than expected, especially if you have a more aggressive setup. However, winds are very slow and cool, and we expect a clear sky all around. Let's go trackside. Leading the field to the green, you see the field in control of Ronnie Samples. Green flags in the air, and the Empire State Road Race is on. As you see the field pouring down turn number 1, who has shown to be a calamity corner this entire weekend through practice and qualifying. There's contact in the back, quite a few cars around. We're still green coming down the S's. Tony Hart on the outside, and the entry on the inside on exit will have the lead as they come down to the back straight away. Luke Pellerin has found himself in the 3rd position. Rebecca Pellerin running 4th. Lucy Barton has taken 5th. Blake Chandler has dropped a little bit behind, lower than 10th, but entering the bus stop. There goes Tony Hart in the lead. We're gonna take a check at what the incident was as Tammy Barton, Corbin Dempsey, Kelly Ashcroft all get together and involve multiple cars. this crash was large enough, and the 97 and the 420 of Creeper Stevenson had too much damage. You see the front end of Lucy Barton's 97, all sorts of bent, and that spells the end of the race for Tammy Barton. You go on board with Lucas Calhoun diving into the first corner, contact with Hibiki Murata and Bobby Savage. Those two go around at the start of lap number 2. Rebecca Pellerin and Luke Pellerin fighting for the third position. They're running nose to tail with Lucy Barton trying to gain the championship lead right behind. Blake Chandler was able to go around Ollie Sandale Nolan and takes the 9th spot, chasing down Ashley Richardson. As you see, Jamal Schmidt chasing down the 98 of Lucy Barton. They're battling for the 5th spot. On board with Kelly Ashcroft in 33rd. With damage from that initial crash, she got sent to the back. There's contact between Corbin Dempsey and the 83 of Kevin Daly. Daly hits the wall near the pits, and that's a local caution, as his car's gonna have to be pushed into the pits just shy of the entry. And that's gonna be a local caution for the next lap or so, but that does not prevent the battle for the lead between Hart and Simples of being interrupted as they fight for the first position. Here comes Samples. Ollie Sandale Nolan trying to go around both Blake Chandler and Thomas Tucker. He goes a little bit too wide. They make contact. Chandler and Sandale Nolan into the tire barrier, and that's a big crash. That's a big crash to cause the first caution of the race. 5 laps in, Chandler and Nolan make contact in the exit of the bus stop, and that is the first caution of the race. As you see another replay from a wider angle, Nolan went just a little bit too wide. When he came back, Chandler was right there, and there was just nothing anyone could have done right there. AJ Murphy, you see, he doesn't have the front end. He went to the pits, and then the tire just blew out because of the contact between the body part and the rest of the car, as Ronnie Samples and Tony Hart once again share the front row, but this time Hart on the inside at the point. Lucy Barton trying to make a dive on her teammate. They're all side by side. Contact, Barton around, Pellerin around, Luke Pellerin around. Contact between Samples and Hart, and that's another big crash in front of the field, and that's a big one. Caution out again. The leaders just wiped each other out. 10 laps in, right after the restart, Samples and Hart make heavy contact into the tire barrier as the whole field tries to avoid them. Jamal Schmidt cannot, actually tags the 96, and as you see, the 7 and the 96 summoned to race control as you go on board with Ashley Richardson, who restarted in the 7th spot. You see Barton diving in, and then everybody just got together. Richardson jumped from 7th to 3rd, and then Samples and Hart wreck, and she nearly gets involved, but she now is the new leader of the race. As you see, Jamal Schmidt hit the 96 of Tony Hart, and to make matters worse, he gets clobbered by the 99, the 43, the 98, the 23, the 77. Multiple cars involved. We're gonna see it on the graphic. The cars that are now out of the race due to this: Brett Finley, Robert Burton, Lee Schmidt done, Jamal Schmidt done, Tony Hart from the lead out of the race, and Kelly Ashcroft, who was looking to gain a lot of points, maybe have a go at the Fay Legacy Cup, also done for the night. Done for the day. Only 11 laps in. As you see, Barton, a lot of damage on the rear of that car. Front end of the car of Robert Burton completely damaged. And as you see, the front row now is Joy Torkson and Ashley Richardson, the first 2 cars to come out of that wreck unscathed, and the green flag is in the air once again. Let's see if we can make it smoother, as Joy Torkson has a way better restart. As they dive into the first corner, you see a lot of the field just single file, but I think we're still gonna have some contacts right there in the back. But Torkson leading away, Richardson trying to just fend off the 85 of Charlie Faulkner on the exit of the corner. Is it gonna be enough? Looks like it will. Will it be enough? I'm not sure. No, not yet. But then she's gonna get him on the bus stop, and this is gonna be the battle for the lead for the next while. Joy Torkson versus Ashley Richardson. The very cold and calculative Torkson against a very fiery and very fun Ashley Richardson. Should be a battle for the ages here in this historic, fantastic road course in upstate New York. As you see the 32 of Kirk Jones right there carrying the flag for Overton Motorsports. Rebecca Pellerin, despite the spin on the restart, finding herself in 13th place and 14th place, climbed down all the way from 36th. Caitlin Richler, one of the drivers that benefited a lot from that big crash. Lucy Barton, one of the drivers that lost a lot with that big crash. She was diving for the lead, just lost the hand, lost control, and falls all the way down to 24th place. Rebecca Pellerin chasing down Peter Johnson, who's running in 12th. Contact! And that could have been much worse than it actually was. Pellerin gathers it back up, runs a little bit over the curb, gives way for Corbin Dempsey and Caitlin Richler. As you see, Ashley Richardson and Joy Turkson still battling, but their battle has been so close. Kirk Jones and Charlie Faulkner used this opportunity to close in just a little bit. Megan McDonald, a big surprise there in the 5th position, as Richardson passes Turkson for the lead. Jones is gonna threaten Turkson for the 2nd spot. Let's see how things will go as they're coming into the bus stop. Is that gonna work? Looks like it might not yet. And Turkson successfully fends off Jones, and Charlie Faulkner uses this opportunity to take the 3rd position from the Canadian. Ashley Richardson has opened a little bit of a gap, a couple of seconds over Turkson, but still on the visual, as you see Jones fighting with Faulkner and Turkson for that 2nd spot. Megan McDonald and Lucas Calhoun fighting for the 5th position. Right behind them is Bobby Savage. That big crash between the leaders on lap number 11 has changed the entire complexion of the race, so drivers that we were not expecting to be on this battle are now in the fight for the win. Kristen Young goes for an undercut on lap number 22. That's around where we expected most drivers to pit, but she didn't pit during the lap 11 caution, so she's expected to stay a little while. Lucy Barton, Rebecca Pellerin did not. They did pit during that yellow flag, so they're gonna be around until lap like 30, something like that. By lap 29, you can see the gap Ashley Richardson has built up on Joy Turkson. It's pretty hefty. Kirk Jones, Charlie Faulkner, Lucas Calhoun, Megan McDonald, Ibiki Murata, Bobby Savage, Mac Henley, and Jenny Irving. A big surprise closing out the top 10. Peter Johnson goes for the undercut on lap number 27, 5 laps after Young. Ronnie Samples, after the crash, has found himself in 20th place, far behind as Kristen Young. After undercutting, she's gaining a lot on him. He also pitted actually, blows up the 71 of Dan Wright on lap number 30, and that's gonna be a local caution as they're gonna push that car back into the gate that you can't quite see right here in this camera angle, but there's a little opening back there, and that's where they're gonna push him to. No need for a full-fledged yellow flag. As Lucy Barton pits on lap number 30, she's gonna come out, but she's gonna lose a lap to Richardson. Looks like she will. She will lose a lap to Ashley Richardson, but she comes in between Richardson and Turkson. Turkson still ways behind, as Kirk Jones and Turkson still battling for 2nd place as we enter lap number 31, approaching lap number 32. And let's see if anyone there takes it. No one else in the top 5 takes it. Megan McDonald to the pits on lap number 31. I think I see their Boyd Abbott there, or is it the 71 of them right after they pulled them to the... I think it's them right. As you see, Kirk Jones makes the move on Joy Turkson at the entrance of turn number 1. Makes the dive, and the dive works. Turkson trying to save as much tires as he can in this late run. As Riley McKee, Corbin Dempsey come in with Jack Patterson on coming to lap number 33. Faulkner, Calhoun, Savage, Irving, Pellerin, Wyman come in, and coming to lap 34, 1 lap later, it's time for Turkson to dip from 3rd position. As you see, they lapped the 14 of Adam Patterson. Patterson was around the top 20 the last time we saw him, but he has been quite a ways behind. Ashley Richardson still hanging on, about to lap the 88, almost contact between the 88, the 58, and the 98. The 3/8s almost got together, but Ashley Richardson still running away with the lead as we reach lap number 34. In the middle of the pit cycle, should be around this time for these cars to pit. She's trying to save more tires to get to a longer pit cycle, as Lucy Barton chasing down the 58 as we're coming to lap number 34. Richardson to the pits and Barton back on the lead lap. And right behind her is Luke Pellerin. Pellerin is bound to pass her just because he has newer tires. Martin pitted a little bit earlier, Pellerin pitted a little bit later, but the field has spread it out so much, it's just so easy to fall a lap down. We're clocking around 1.14 in a late run. As you see with Kirk Jones, his last lap was a 1.14.6. Rafaela Molina, who is right behind him, she's also staying out, extending the run on lap number 35, did a 1:15.7. Thomas Tucker now also extending his run, did a 1:15.062. Right behind them is Ruby Carson and Cornelia Brooks. Jones pits at the start of lap number 36. I think Molina also pitted with him. And let's see if let's see Richardson as she's gonna cycle out ahead of the 32. So Richardson is back on the lead. Seems like her strategy was correct. Kirk Jones did not get a successful overcut as he also loses the position to Charlie Faulkner, Lucas Calhoun, and Peter Johnson, who is now presumably the 4th place when things cycle out. Joy Thorkson's gonna be 5th. Thorkson lost a lot of time by pitting earlier than Richardson, but and now here comes Connie Brooks. Brooks hasn't pitted yet. On coming to lap number 38, it's her time to hit the pits as Thomas Tucker continues to extend his run. As we enter lap number 38, Ruby Carson has already pitted, but she's so far behind she ended up being lapped as well. Tucker has made a couple of faster laps on the 114s, but that's still way too far behind as Ruby Carson dives on the 9. She has better tires. He does not contest. Let's see if he hits the pits coming to lap 39. He's been extending his run and it's been working, and he does not come in. He's extending his run perhaps a bit too much. And there we go. Radio communications in the 9 crew calling him in as we enter lap number 39. Tucker is in the pits. He was not expecting to gain the lead in the cycle, so it's just one to put him as far ahead as possible, get those bonus points, and hope for a caution later on. As you see, Ashley Richardson continues to lead. She's gonna pass the 9 as the 9 is entering the pit, so she caught the 9 of Thomas Tucker. She also has almost a whole second faster than him in terms of fastest lap. She has a 1:11.7. Tucker has a 1:12.5. While Lucas Calhoun now runs in 2nd place. It's a 1-2 for Dwight Johnson Motorsports. The Dwight Johnson Motorsports, I think they are the most fun team in the garage as far as I think we're counting everybody. As you go together with Rebecca Pellerin, giving a chase to Jenny Irving. Contact! And that's a lot of damage on the hood of the 27. Rebecca, I don't think you should have done that. She tried to dive, it didn't work. Kristen Young currently running in 11th as the pit cycle ends. Kirk Jones, you can see he dropped all the way to 10th, so that attempt at an overcut failed extremely hard, and he's now out of contention for the win. Kristen Young hanging on against Hibiki Murata, Jenny Irving, and Rebecca Pellerin. We've seen some flashes of brilliance from Kristen Young, but I think this is the best performance she's had since the start of a race. As Joy Thorkson and Peter Johnson now by lap 46 fighting for the first position. We're gonna hit a lull in the action. Contact between Peter Johnson and Joy Thorkson. I was gonna say we're gonna hit a lull in the action as the race goes on. The field starts to spread more and more, and things are gonna start getting a little bit more chill. As you see, Kristen Young blows up from the 13th spot. Murata and Pellerin passed her, and it's gonna be at the most inopportune place possible. She stops just on the exit of the pits. That's the caution. As you see, the pace truck. Richardson in, Calhoun out, Kirk Jones out, Bobby Savage out, Mega McDonald out, Kip Lemons the lifeline, so he's gonna be out. Alexis Wyman out, Rafaela Molina out. So some people are trying to gamble, and we're gonna see how this is gonna work. Lucy Barton, I can completely understand staying out. Thomas Tucker is a given he was gonna stay out. He pitted way later than everybody. But Lucy Barton now jumps all the way to 7th place, and that's gonna be an interesting perspective because she has older tires than most of the people in the top 10. Because the top 10 didn't pit. As you see, Richardson right there in the 6th row. So she restarted in 11th or 12th. She restarted behind Connie Brooks, who was the last car not to pit. Kirk Jones leads the way as they enter turn number 1, so Lucas Calhoun was unable to hang on for the lead. Megan McDonald chasing them down. You're gonna see the back of the field contact between both Pellerins and both HQS cars. Riley McKee hit the rear of the 27, and you hear the communication. It is over for championship leader Rebecca Pellerin. Let's see what happened there. She just ended up hitting the rear of the Chew, and the Chew was just behind the 20 Chew, so it was just an accordion effect, and Luke Pellerin had nowhere to go. You see there, McKee tags the 0, and Pellerin just has no time to react, and Luke Pellerin had to react, and you see where McKee hits the 27, that's where it drops the rear of the 27 car. I think it busted the toe link, something like that. It must have happened because Pellerin entered the pits and she never left. Rebecca Pellerin done for the day. The championship leader is done for the day, and that helps the car in 7th place. Whoa! Thomas Tucker, you are a feisty fellow, dove into the 98. The 98 got shook, and Lucy Martin loses a lot of positions, but with Rebecca Pellerin and Blake Chandler out, the championship lead is ripe for the picking, and that's another driver that can make big gains in the championship battle there. Kirk Jones, he might gain a lot. Luke Pellerin drops all the way to 23rd, but he's another guy that can gain a few positions. Caitlin Richler drops to 26 with that crash. She ended up going to the pits, getting a fresh set of tires. Same with Luke Pellerin, so they are in the back of the field. Jenny Irving pits with a tire going down. Lucy Martin pits for her regular pit stop cycle. Adam Patterson into the back of Charlie Faulkner and Peter Johnson both go around, and Adam Patterson was running in 13th. He gets to 11th, and I don't think the officials are gonna like that. Adam Patterson has not had a good rookie season. I think that's the best way we can describe it. Kirk Jones continues to lead away with Lucas Calhoun right behind him on their nose to tail. 3rd place is still Megan McDonald, and we have another local caution. This time, Boyd Abbott has a blowout, and he's gonna be very slow. There's gonna be some debris at the edge of the track that's gonna be taken on the gate, and he's gonna be fine. As Joy Torkson trying to hold on against Lucy Barton, but Barton's a lap down, and I don't think he knew. You can read in the communications, I don't think he knew she was a lap down. He's gonna hand her out the position, then she's gonna hand the position back again when the blue flags get displayed. Oh, that's not cool. That's not cool. That is definitely not a cash money moment. Contact as Torkson made a dive on Lucas Calhoun. Lucy Barton ended up giving a little love tag, a little peck on the number 0 car, as now Torkson gaining a lot of speed with his current fuel run. He pitted, which is something Kirk Jones and Lucas Calhoun didn't do, and you can see how the new tires affect the race dynamic as he goes on the outside with such ease as Calhoun bails. Lucas Calhoun just bailed. He knew that was not gonna be good for him, so Lucas Calhoun bails to the pits, and he is making his pit stop as Torkson's back on the lead. Ashley Richardson currently running in 3rd place, trying to chase down Joy Torkson and Kirk Jones. She is on her new cycle. Thomas Tucker currently running in 6th place, recovering a few positions. The officials are gonna take a check at that restart he had with Lucy, at that incident he had with Lucy Martin. Ruby Carson currently running in 7th, a big surprise, a very welcome surprise. She was involved in a couple of crashes earlier. The front end of the car is all sorts of bent, and that should bring a caution. Charlie Faulkner blows up in front of the field on the back straightaway, spews oil all over the racing line on the S's. They're gonna have to bring the caution to clean that out. Lap 74, we're approaching the final quarter of the race, and that's not good. But you wanna know for who's that good? That's good for Lucy Barton, who gets another chance to get back on the lead lap, this time through the lifeline. Hibiki Murata, Ruby Carson, Peter Johnson all take this opportunity to pit. And someone else is going to take the opportunity to pit. Ashley Richardson and Bobby Savage also choose to pit. They They pitted on the last caution, so this is gonna be very good for them. Alexis Wyman and Kirk Jones also pit. Mega McDonald also on the pits. And because this was on lap 74, some drivers were able to cycle out. Luke Pellerin stays out with Jenny Irving on the front row. Caitlin Richler jumps all the way to third with the pit cycle, and green flags in the air with Thomas Tucker, the last car to not pit. And Thomas Tucker already sets up a 3 wide. As Caitlin Richler passes it, tries to pass the 95. There's a big contact in the back. The caution's out again. There's a car upside down. Someone hit the 34. Boyd Abbott hit the 34. Someone lost their brakes there. Let's see who. Oh my God, it was Mac Hanley. Hanley lost the brakes, tried to slow down, but just did a general strike of the entire field coming to turn number 1. That car is done. Connie Brooks done. Who's still in the race? That's a large crash involving 10 cars. You can see how the number 7 got the wheels in the air. Joy Torkson has a lot of damage. That should be it for him. That's a big crash. Torkson out there, and it's just so much damage on the number 0. And you see there, that's the cars that remain. This is the entire field. Molina leads after the pit cycle with Thomas Tucker, Ruby Carson, Peter Johnson, Ashley Richardson, Ibiki Murata, Bobby Savage, Kirk Jones, Alexis Wyman, Jenny Irving, Luke Pellerin, and Caitlin Richler. Joy Torkson, Ronnie Samples, Mac Hanley, Connie Brooks, Boyd Abbott, and Lucy Barton, who stands to win the championship lead, are done for the afternoon. With under 20 laps to go, we're gonna have a restart with only a few laps remaining, but so far not everyone pitted. So Molina's up front because she didn't pit. Tucker's up front because he didn't pit. Carson's up front because she didn't pit. Same with Peter Johnson and Ashley Richardson. They're gonna try to stretch it until the end, which is gonna be very interesting. We only have around 16 laps to go. Green flag is in the air, and this is gonna be very interesting. 18 laps remaining. Ashley Richardson goes for a dive on Ruby Carson and Peter Johnson. Is it gonna work? They almost made contact, but it's a clean restart. Contact between Thomas Tucker, Ruby Carson, and Peter Johnson. Ashley Richardson tries to make the move on the 95. Let's go on board with Peter Johnson as, let's see, the 77 makes contact with the 69. The 9 gets involved, and they're seeing the damage on the 9. They're gonna bring him to the pits, but Thomas Tucker will also be done for the afternoon. Ashley Richardson continues to lead. Bobby Savage, a big surprise. The Triumph Motorsports car has been running greatly. Brett Finley was done early. Bobby Savage has been carrying the EPS flag for Triumph Motorsports since then, and they're having a fantastic run. Kirk Jones is running right there in third. Luke Pellerin running in fourth. Those two already pitted, so they don't need to pit again. But Ashley Richardson and Bobby Savage are trying to save as much as they can. Peter Johnson's another driver that is trying to save as much as he can. He makes contact with Rafael Molina, goes off into the gravel pit, but he's gonna get it back going. He's not gonna need to get a tow. That's not gonna bring a caution. We're gonna be good. He's just gonna take a while to get back up. Ashley Richardson with the lead. Molina dropping all the way down to 6th place, with Savage in 2nd. 3rd place still Jones, Pellerin, and Richler running in 5th. A fantastic result for Caitlin Richler. She won the opening round in Lakeland, but hasn't sniffed a win ever since. Pellerin goes around Kirk Jones and now sets his sights on the 51. Ibiki Murata appearing right there in 6th. You can hear, and now you check the radio of the 58 team, and I don't think they're gonna stay out. I think they were not able to stretch those tires and fuel. They're gonna have to pit again, and that spells disaster for the number 51 team and the number I think the 69 too, as Peter Johnson has already pitted. Ashley Richardson pits. Peter Johnson now 1 lap down. Jenny Irving is right there in the top 10, but there's not many cars left. I think we actually have only 10 cars left. Yeah. This race has been not only a test of endurance, but a test of patience for a lot of drivers, as Luke Pellerin having to go around the 69, but the 69 has better tires. However, Pellerin has arguably a better car. Hibiki Murata stayed out, being able to stretch well enough, but we only have around 6 laps to go. As Bobby Savage also pitted, Ruby Carson pits from 9th place. She is definitely gonna fall a lap down. And as you see, as she comes in, just her race is gonna come to an abrupt halt as she falls from 9th. And Hibiki Murata has to come in, not enough fuel. Jenny Irving has to come in, not enough fuel. This is gonna leave, I believe, Kirk Jones in 2nd place. Bobby Savage has been on a saving fuel strategy. Caitlin Richler running in 4th place now. And this is gonna be a tense finish because Pellerin is gonna have to save it. As you see, Murata just did a splash. Kirk Jones and Bobby Savage hanging on to 2nd and 3rd. Caitlin Richler in 4th. With only 3 laps to go, it's gonna be a very interesting finish because we don't know who's gonna have enough fuel to finish. That includes Pellerin. Pellerin was eluded by a fuel strategy last time around in the New York Auto Ring, but back in the state of New York, he's gonna be in a position to win a race as Alexis Wyman has jumped to the 7th position on the fuel economy strategy. She has saved more than everyone else. Ashley Richardson stands to gain a couple of positions with the cars currently pitting, as Kirk Jones trying to chase down the number 88 with the 51 of Bobby Savage right behind him, and the 2 of Caitlin Richler in tow. And coming down to lap 101, Jones does not have enough fuel and he has to pit. This will place Bobby Savage in 2nd, Caitlin Richler in 3rd place. And at the point, just coming around to get his first career win, Pellerin was eluded from a win earlier this year in New York due to a fuel strategy, but this time around, he's gonna get the big break. He's gonna get the strategical win. Rounding out the final corner, Luke Pellerin is gonna win a 2.5-hour grueling race in Watkins Glen. Luke Pellerin was able to stretch it just enough to get his first North American Auto Club win here in Watkins Glen, and this one's worth double points. Bobby Savage brings home a surprising 2nd place with Caitlin Richler in tow. With the chaos, these 2 climbed all the way from 31st to 36th. Alexis Wyman takes home the 4th position with Ashley Richardson bringing home 5th place despite failing to save enough fuel. This is gonna be a fantastic points result for Ashley. Kirk Jones and Peter Johnson pitted late and end up around a full minute behind Luke Pellerin, while Ruby Carson, Hibiki Murata, and Jenny Irving end up closing the top 10 1 and 2 laps behind and are the last cars to finish the race. Everyone else in the top 20 and below did not finish, but Lucy Barton was able to bring home enough points by retiring from 15th place, while pole position Ronnie Samples, you can see there, finishes up in 16th. With that 15th place finish, Lucy Martin's back on the saddle. She's back on the championship lead, just barely edging out Rebecca Pellerin by 4 points, while Hibiki Murata vaults over Blake Chandler for 3rd place with her top 10 finish. Ruby Carson, Thomas Tucker, and Luke Pellerin make big gains and enter the top 10, just like Ashley Richardson, Kirk Jones, Joy Torkson bring home the rest of it. Mac Henley, Kelly Ashcroft, and Jamal Schmidt fall out of the top 10. Connie Brooks stays put in 14th. Corbin Dempsey and Caitlin Richler make big gains and a couple of spots, while Brett Finley, Charlie Faulkner, and Riley McKee remain between 17th and 19th, with Ronnie Samples breaking into the top 20 despite failing to finish. With this being the 3rd leg of the Legacy Cup, let's take a look at how they line up with only 1 race left. Luke Pellerin and Ruby Carson are tied with an average finish of 7th place, with Hibiki Murata and Kirk Jones very close by. Caitlin Richler is right around the corner, while Megan McDonald, Ashley Richardson, Joy Torkson, Mac Henley, and Rebecca Pellerin close the top 10, but are still very near the 88 and the 77, and hold a shot at stealing those 100 bonus points, which in the case of Richardson would turn her into a title contender, and in the case of Pellerin would likely give her a leg up in the championship and probably lock it early. The Rookie of the Year battle continues to shift around wildly. While Blake Chandler holds on to that big gap for the lead, Peter Johnson makes an unbelievable gain into 4th place with his 7th place finish. Charlie Faulkner and Boyd Abbott lose a little bit of ground, while Jenny Irving passes Andy Atwood for 7th place. The next round of the North American Auto Club will be the Ronnie Zone 150 at the big left turn, Langhorne Speedway in Pennsylvania, the final time we race in the Northeast in the 2017 season. I'll see you next time around.